Hi everyone, I am Miss Coleman and I am one of the leaders of Norview Beyond Norfolk along with the awesome Ms. Butterly. I want to thank you for taking a few minutes to watch this video. This is a quick overview for families who were not able to attend our in-person meeting or just want a little bit of a refresher of the things we talked about. And it's designed to help you understand who we are, what we do, and how our international travel program at Norview works. So Norview Beyond Norfolk is an educational travel program that Ms. Butterly and I run. We've been traveling to different places around the world with Norview students since 2017. We're both really passionate about this. We've been to London, Paris, Rome, Germany, Czech Republic, Poland. Ms. Butterly recently went to Greece. We also have some upcoming trips to Italy and South Africa. And now we are super excited that in summer of 27, we're going to be going to Ireland. So the trip that we are looking at is called Best of Ireland. It is 9 days, and we have requested the dates of June 7th to June 15th, 2027. We will not have exact days nailed down until about 60 days out. They do ask for 3 days wiggle room on either side. So the earliest we could potentially leave would be June 4th. The latest we could potentially leave would be June 10th. And either way, of course, it is a 9-day trip. This trip is a fantastic combination of urban and rural, a chance to delve into the history of Ireland, the lore and myths and magic of Ireland, and also the amazing nature that we can see there as well, and the scenes, the cliffs, and all that just gorgeous Emerald Isle scenery. Just a little bit of background about us if we have not gotten the chance to meet. My name is Courtney Coleman. I have been at Norview for 13 years, and Allison Butterly has been at Norview for 5 years. Part of the reason I wanted to get into international travel with students is because I used to live overseas. Prior to being here, I taught English in the Netherlands for 5 years and had a chance to explore different countries of Europe and see that they can go to different countries as easily as we can go to different states, and just to be immersed in all those different cultures and languages and cuisines and ideas was just such a change from living here in the United States. Ms. Butterly also lived overseas for many years as a child in Italy, and so had those same experiences, and we really wanted to share that with our students. Some of the reasons we think travel is so important, for one thing, is just getting kids out of our 2025 bubble, helping them see that there's a world beyond social media. And TikTok's amazing. You can see things on YouTube, you can see life, but it's not the same as being immersed in it. It's not the same as living in that environment, hearing the language, talking to the people, and developing those connections and empathy with other people. I also love traveling because it forces the kids to be a little bit more independent than they might be used to. It's safe independence. Most of the students will not come on this trip with their parents. That being said, parents, you are able to come if you want to join us. There is an adult price, and we do not disallow that. But the majority of students will come on their own, and I think that is fantastic because it gives them that sense of independence that they have to handle business. They have to figure out how to exchange money if they need to, how to communicate with somebody in a different language if they need to, although Ireland, that wouldn't be the case. But there's also that safety net of me standing there going, okay, it's 11 o'clock, lights out. And so it gives a little bit of freedom while still keeping them safe. And so for all those reasons, we think this is a really great opportunity to get kids out in the world. So of course, all the reasons that we love traveling with students are very anecdotal. The company, and Explorica is the company that we are traveling with. I'll talk a little bit more about them on the next slide. But they're gonna, as an organization, they're gonna come with the data. So if you like numbers, Of course, they have compiled that sort of stuff, showing that the majority of students who travel internationally have higher GPAs, are more likely to go to college. I think traveling internationally is a great thing to talk about in college essays and things like that, to share the personal growth and increased confidence that comes from a journey like that. So if you're a numbers person, there's your data. The company that we are traveling with is called Explorica by World Strides. And the reason we chose this company is because this is a student travel organization. They only do tours for students. So they are centered on creating that educational opportunity while being fun, but it is designed to help students learn and experience the world. The other reason I like that they only work with students is that they are going to be hyper vigilant, that they are not going to put anyone's child in danger. And you can imagine that would not be good for the business model. So they are on top of everything as far as these tours. They do go to all 7 continents. They've been doing this for 55 years. They have boots on the ground in all of the places that they send kids. Um, and that is a fantastic safety net to have, that if something goes wrong, we don't have to figure out what to do about it. The company's there. From the moment we get off the plane, we are going to be met by a tour director, and that tour director stays with us 24/7 until they put us back on the plane. As we stop in different places, we will have local guides who pop in to share, the intimate knowledge of that area, but that Explorica tour guide is with us everywhere, every bus trip, every hotel night, everything. And so if something goes wrong, they're there. And for example, we had an issue when Ms. Butterly and I last traveled to London, Paris, and Rome. It was in the summer of 22. We were supposed to go in 21. We got COVIDed, but we all know that still in 2022, there were still some issues with COVID. And lo and behold, we got to Rome, which was our last stop, and we had a student come down with COVID, and the poor kid was sick. We were in Italy and they had very strict regulations still at that time about isolation and what needed to happen if somebody was sick. And so we contacted the company, and they jumped into gear and they got taken care of. They sent doctors out to the doctors to the hotel to take care of testing, to take care of medication, and they got on the phone with his parents. And one of the things that we're going to assure, obviously students have to have passports to travel, but we also want to make sure that at least one adult who can take care of this child also has a passport. Because what happened is they called him up and they said, "Hey, Dad, grab your passport. We're getting you on a plane." And they got him on the next plane out of Norfolk to Italy. And we had to go back to the United States. One of our chaperones, actually Ms. Butterly, had to stay, or wanted to stay. We didn't want to leave the student alone. So she stayed with him until his dad arrived. And then that was it. And they took care of them, because Italy's rules at the time were you had to be isolated for at least 7 days and then go through all their process before you could leave isolation. So the company took care of, keeping them in the hotel and the food and accommodations, and getting the doctors out there to take care of him. And once he was cleared and he was healthy, they took care of flying them back to the United States. So that's always great to know that if something goes wrong, if a child gets sick, if someone gets injured, they're going to take care of that, and we're going to have access to that help immediately because they're there. They're engaged, they're talking to us constantly, and they've got plans on anything that could possibly happen. I clicked away from my previous slide too quickly. I did want to add that in addition to reacting to issues on the tour, the company Explorica is also really great about being proactive as far as risk management. Not that I anticipate anything would ever go weird with Ireland, but you never know. If throughout the next year and a half that we were planning, things started to heat up there, something was going on in their country, the Explorica will not send us there. They use the State Department's ranking of the countries. If you ever go on the State Department website, it's got, this country is green for travel, this is yellow, this is orange, all those different ratings. If Ireland fell into an area where they decided it was not 100% safe for people to travel to, they would call us up and say, you got to change your trip. Let's find another place for you to go. So on top of reacting to what's happening, they're being proactive to make sure that everywhere we go is very safe for the student. So where we are going is the best of Ireland, and you can see by the little airplane map there, we're going to fly in and out of Dublin. We are not doing the extra extension to London, so you can ignore the dotted lines. But we're going to start in Dublin. We're going to do a nice little loop around Ireland and see some pretty amazing stuff as we go. So here is our day-by-day itinerary for Ireland. Day one is going to be our flight there. It's usually an overnight flight. We are lucky enough that we live in the same city as our airport, so we can all meet up very easily. I will make all of your children wear matching t-shirts. We will be super cute. We'll take lots of pictures, and then we will hopefully get some sleep on the way because we will hit the ground running. These tours, we will wear your kids out. We are doing 10 to 12 miles a day. We are exploring everything. They're going to be exhausted. They're going to see so much. It's going to be amazing. But that is going to start from the moment we land. We went to London. We landed at 6 a.m. By 8 a.m., we were on a tour at the Tower of London. So when we land in Dublin on that second day, we will immediately get checked into our hotel and then go. We'll start by exploring the city, checking out the Halfpenny Bridge, going into the famous Temple Bar District. We will learn about Molly Malone, check out some pubs, and really just do a kind of a laid-back introductory day to Dublin. What I like about these itineraries, or what I should point out, is a lot of times it doesn't look like we're doing much. It'll say 2 or 3 specific things. And we do that on purpose because we have found throughout these tours that the kids get the most out of structured free time. So we're not just saying, okay, go, but we're trying not to plan too much. We like it to be a little bit organic, or we can decide on the way. One of the things we're doing is making this a private tour where we're not teaming up with other schools, so that we do have that freedom to say, all right, we've got a few hours free. Let's check things out. Where do we want to go? What do we want to explore? And so that's what we'll do in Dublin on that first day, kind of do what we want to do. Day 3 will be a little bit more structured. We'll have a guided sightseeing tour where we will see all of the typical, places that are very famous: O'Connell Street, St. Patrick's Cathedral. Phoenix Park is one of the largest city parks in all of Europe, comparable to Central Park in New York City. And it's so large, it's actually home to a herd of wild deer in the middle of Dublin. So that's very cool to check out. We're going to be going to Trinity College, which is Ireland's oldest university, started by Queen Elizabeth. And we'll even get to see a 9th century illuminated manuscript, which was handwritten by monks. And all my kids who have taken AP Euro with me know we've talked about how painstaking that is for the monks to do. So we'll get to see the result. We will have a traditional public house dinner. Every dinner is traditional. I think they're pointing that one out because it's going to be in, a very old original public house. But every dinner we have is going to be Irish food. And we can absolutely, take into account allergies or preferences, vegetarian, we got that on lock. But we're not going to be, having spaghetti in Ireland. We're going to be experiencing the cuisine of the region everywhere we go. Day 4, we're going to wrap things up in Dublin by going to a really cool new museum, very high-tech, very immersive. It's called EPIC, the Irish Immigration Museum, and we all know or have learned in Euro, or will learn next year, about millions of Irish immigrants coming to the United States after the Irish potato famine, and how they brought with them their customs and cultures and all that to the United States. And so we'll get to explore that concept there, mixing in a little bit of the history into our trip. After that, we're going to leave the city and go out into the more rural areas to Galway. This is a coastal town, and we're going to get to learn about or hear people who are still speaking Gaelic as their first language. It's a very bright, youthful city or town to check out as we leave Dublin. Day 5, we're going to continue to explore Galway. We call this day the Wild West, for Ireland anyway. Galway is a very, like I said, a very cool town because it's got a lot of other cultures mixed in. We're going to visit the Spanish Arch. We're going to go to Quay Street. That's a really fantastic shopping area. We'd like to fit in a little bit of souvenir shopping when we can. We're going to go to St. Nicholas Church, which is famous because Christopher Columbus actually once prayed there. After we have explored Galway, including we're also going to check out the Kylemore Abbey, and you can see from that picture what an amazing place that will be. Then we are going to be moving to Connemara, which is called the Soul of Ireland. This is that typical what you see in Ireland. We're going to see the stone cottages with the thatched roofs and the rolling green hills, and really that deep Irish sense. On day 6, we're going to be moving to Killarney. We're going to go to the Cliffs of Moher, which you can see in that second picture, and get to stand on the edge safely, not too close, but stand on the cliffs of Ireland, looking out to the ocean, feeling like a star in our own, ending movie scene, which is just pretty amazing to see. Then we're going to go to Limerick, learn about limericks, walk down the streets that are the same streets from medieval times. We're going to go to King John's Castle, St. Mary's Cathedral, which is more than 850 years old, and see a lot of amazing things there. On day 7, we are going to the Blarney Stone. We'll go to the Blarney Castle. You can lay down, hang your head over the edge, and kiss it, which will give you the gift of eloquence, they say, and you will have all your public speaking will be super easy from there on out. We're even going to go to a sheep farm, get to hug some really cute fuzzy sheep, and even see a demonstration of a sheepdog doing its thing, rounding up the working sheep. On day 8, we are going to go back to Dublin. On the way, we are going to stop in a town called Waterford, which is another town that's been around since medieval ages, and we're going to go to a medieval museum to explore what Ireland was like back then. And then we will end up back in Dublin. So when we get to talking about the price of the trip, I want to make sure everyone knows that everything is included. The only thing that is not included in the trip is lunches. Breakfast and the dinners are included, and then lunches we keep really free. We don't like to plan those because we could be anywhere doing anything at any point. So we keep those for everyone to kind of cover their own. Usually suggest about $15–20 a day. We don't generally sit down in restaurants for lunch. We try to give the kids a couple options. Honestly, what always ends up happening is, we have breakfast at the hotel, we have these traditional dinners, and then the kids look at me and go, okay, but what about McDonald's? Do they have McDonald's here? How is it different? Is that a Pizza Hut? And so we end up, checking out a lot of times, checking out American fast food in different countries. But other than the lunches and souvenirs, everything's included. All the travel, all the hotels. The students will be in either triple or quad hotel rooms. They do have the option to upgrade to a twin setting or all the way to a solo if that's what they prefer. But generally the kids have fun together in that 3 or 4 hotel as we go. The hotels, again, like I said, will have breakfast there, so we'll make sure everyone's fueled up before we hit the road. This includes all of the attractions, the tours, the tipping. We build all that in so that there is not a single thing you have to pay for except for those lunches and whatever the kids want to buy while they're there. One of the other things that's very cool that's included is the online tour diary. Every night, the tour guide is going to post on the diary to a private website that only the parents can access, or whoever you give the link to is able to read a post about everything we did that day, and the tour director will post pictures that they have taken of the kids. I also take tons of pictures of the kids, and if I can't post on that diary, I'll have a private, again, only accessible to the parents, private social media account where I will upload these pictures for you to see as well. So even if your kid's not the best about keeping in touch, or if they don't have international access on their phone, we're going to make sure you see as much of them as possible while you're there. And then, of course, all the emergency services, and we are going to have the basic travel protection plan already built into that cost as well. And I will explain that on the next slide. I lied. It is not the next slide, but it might be the one after this. What is not included? I already said this. Like I said, obviously you got to get your own passport. We do not have to worry about travel to and from the airport because we live in Norfolk. So again, the only other things would be lunch money and then spending money on whatever they want to do that's outside of what's planned. We do not need a visa for Ireland. If something crazy happened and that changed, the company would instantly know. They would let me know. I'd communicate with y'all. But at the moment, and I anticipate moving forward, all you need for Ireland is your passport. All right, this was the slide I was looking for. So there are two different protection plans that the company offers, or they have a company that they use. The first one I have already decided everyone is getting. It's already part of the price as it is, and that's the basic protection. This is going to cover anything that happens on the trip. If excuse me, if your luggage gets lost, if the flights get canceled, obviously the company would have taken care of that anyway. If your passport gets stolen or lost, if something happens and your child can't come on the trip, they sadly fall down and break a leg, or they get really sick, or something happens in your family and they cannot go, that will cover those huge events. You have the option to upgrade, if you like, to the Travel Protection Plus, and that basically says it doesn't matter why you're canceling. You can cancel for any reason under the sun up to 48 hours before the trip, and you'll get back 75% of what you have paid. So these are between and y'all and the company, but like I said, you already have the basic one built in, and the plus is an option. This just basically says we want to make sure everyone's going to get a passport. You want to jump on and get that passport going right away. It should take a few months, but you never know. Things can go crazy. We actually sadly had somebody who was supposed to go to that 2022 trip with us. They didn't apply for his passport in time, or something went wrong. I really don't know, but it never came. And they were hoping up until the day before the trip that it would arrive, and it never came. And sadly, he wasn't able to join us. So we're going to really push, apply for those passports as soon as possible. If you have a student who already has a passport, just need to make sure that it will still be good for 6 months after the end of the trip. So your passports have to have an expiration date of December 2027 or later. One cool thing that Explorica offers is academic credit. You can actually get credit for coming on this trip. You can earn half of a high school credit, or you can earn up to 3 college credits through George Mason University. So if this is something that your student is interested in, we can, get you in touch and fill out the paperwork. Obviously, the high school credit, we would involve your guidance counselor and work through how that works. The college credit is, as I said, through George Mason. You do pay for, whatever the credits cost. So I think one credit is $110, or the 3 credit course is $330. And that's an option to do. And so if you want to do that, they'll give you, a couple assignments you have to do before the trip, while you're on the trip, finish off with the paper after the trip. And basically, in the end, you have one college course, 3 credits that you have in your pocket, and you can transfer to wherever you end up going to college. And I can't imagine, unless you're literally going to, Harvard or Yale, George Mason credit is going to transfer to pretty much any college that you go to. So this is just a really cool opportunity to pocket some credits while you're on the trip. Before we get to the actual numbers, there are a couple of options, things to make it a little bit easier for students to travel. One of the things that Explorica does is that every student is going to have a personal fundraising page on explorica.com, basically your own GoFundMe that goes straight to your account. So this is a link that you can give to grandparents, aunts and uncles, anybody who might be sending you presents, like for Christmases and birthdays and whatever you got going on, and be like, hey, instead of sending me something, will you go on this website and donate? And they can log on and they can decide, how much they want to contribute, plug it in, and that instantly comes right off your total. So that's a really good way to get some money taken care of. And that's, another reason we start so far in advance. You got 2 years of gift-giving holidays to send out that link to people. They do have financial assistance. There are need-based scholarships that you can apply for. And so if you decide to go that option, when you go to register, they have a confidential application that you can go through the company with them. On top of those things that Explorica does, I personally am offering 2 student scholarships. So every student that enrolls within our initial 2-week period, which ends on November 5th, will be entered into a drawing. I will randomly select 2 names, and those 2 students, I will put $200, towards their accounts to help a little bit with that as well. So just a couple of ideas to get a little bit more money added here and there. So in the end, this is what we are looking at. The student price for the 9 days in Ireland with everything included is $4,739. Student price does go up to age 21, so if there are any recent grads who want to come along, you are still a student. The adult price, if you want to join your student, is $5,179. There is that up fee, a little bit because it's an adult on a student tour, and also because adults automatically go into twin rooms. You will not be asked to have 3 or 4 to a room as an adult. So that's why it's a little bit more. If you do choose to travel with your child, you do have the option of having a family room where you have your child stay with you. Honestly, we've seen it. Don't recommend it. We like to let the kids hang out with the other kids, but that is always an option for you to do with your child. There are 3 options as far as enrollment. Obviously, you want to pay it all off. You are awesomer than I. You can absolutely do so. Most people are going to go for that monthly payment plan, and I think this is the best option. This is the biggest reason why we start so far in advance. So if you decide to go with that, it's a $50 deposit. You do also have to pay for that protection plan up front. So that would mean that the initial registration would be $226. After that, starting a month from now, your monthly payments would be $265. If you have people who are donating money, if you put a whole chunk on at one point, then obviously that will change, and your monthly amounts will drop as money gets taken off. But if you strictly did the monthly payments, they would be $265.47. That will wrap up about 2 months before the trip, and then you'll be good to go. If you prefer to pay differently, not monthly, they do have the manual payment plan. They don't have that discount. Basically, they're giving you that like $49 discount if you sign up for the automatic. So that's the $99 deposit plus that protection plan you got to pay up front. Once that's taken care of, then it's basically up to you when you put that money in. They will divide it into 4 installments, but you are choosing to log on and pay it when it is due. And I'm sure, they have fees if you don't or whatever, how that works. But you have a lot more control over how much you put in and when. If it reaches a certain point and nothing has been paid but the deposit, they're going to start reaching out and be like, hey, are you really coming on this trip? But it does give you a little bit more control. Obviously, we'd love to see people on the monthly because then, we know it's being taken care of as you go. The price will go up by $200 on November 5th. So technically, the price of the trip is $49.39. They give you a $200 discount in those first 2 weeks. So as long as you get enrolled by then, it's the $47.39. And so that is it. That is our breakdown for Ireland 2027. We have already had signups start happening. We've already had several spots. I think we're about 24 hours since the meeting, and I think 10 spots are already taken. We cannot take unlimited numbers. We are going to, to cut it off at a certain point because we don't want it to get unwieldy. So if you are interested, I know it's a lot to think about and consider, but I hope that you want to come. We'd love to have people come. If you have any questions, anything down to the tiniest, most nitpicky or specific to your kid question, please, 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 please ask. You are sending your child to a foreign country with somebody else, so there is no question that is ridiculous or over the top or too specific. I have a 19-year-old. I've got a 9-year-old. I would ask every tiny little question under the sun. So please ask me, make me a whole list of questions. I will respond to them all and send them back. That is what we are here for, to assure you that this is an amazing opportunity and that we will be with your children every step of the way and help them have an amazing time. But I hope that this has answered at least the big questions for you. And that's it, I guess. I'm going to show you the next slide with the contact info. So this is how you can enroll if you are ready to go. You can scan the QR code. You can go to that website. If you would rather talk to somebody, I guess you can call them. If you have any questions, again, please, I'm sending this from my email, so you can respond to that email. It is ccoleman@nps.k12.va.us. And I hope that we will see you in Ireland. Thank you so much for joining me, and talk to you soon.